Fine. So, Rhett, real quick, we are recapping the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win 30-24 versus the Panthers. Against all freaking odds, the Buccaneers were able to get that win. Let's just take it from the top, right? So, Tom Brady, 34 of 45, 432 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and a rushing touchdown to boot, Rhett. What a freaking crazy game from Tom Brady. It was electric. You could even say it might be his best game as a Buck in terms of just overall production. What were your thoughts on Brady and how he did in this game?
What a sight for sore eyes, right? I mean, for a lot of people over the last 2 years, we've really grown accustomed to seeing Tom Brady just throw the ball over the all over the yard, and the Bucs offense has not given him very many opportunities to do that this year. Whether it's in play calling, whether it's poor execution, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to point the finger at, it just has not been there in 2022 so far. And now here we are in 2023. That's the thing, is that this is the 2023 Bucs offense. So with that being said, maybe we get some shades of 2020 and 2021 as well. But yeah, I thought Brady was great today. I know it was a rough start on the offensive side of the ball. The Bucs found themselves down 14-0. And I think that's when a lot of people had kind of checked out and wanted to wave the white flag. But a couple of dubious plays and some turnovers by Carolina later, the Bucs are right back in this game. And it's crazy because even at one point in this game, the Bucs had 16 points and they were approaching 400 total yards of offensive production, which sounds like the same old song it's been all year. Like I know that they were finally able to produce and move the ball a hell of a lot more today, but finally finding the end zone was a very big deal, obviously led to the win. And I know we talk a lot about Tom Brady, but you cannot talk about Tom Brady's performance today without talking about the greatest offensive player to step on the field in the history of the Buccaneers franchise. That is one Sir Mike Evans. 3 touchdowns today for Big Mike. They got that connection going, and I think Brady realized once he hit him once, he could probably hit him as many times as he wanted to. That was awesome to see. For a big Mike Evans fan such as myself, felt like a great redemption game, and this is exactly the momentum that your team is going to need heading into the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see, what kind of players are active next week. I don't know if the Bucs are in a position to really sit anybody, but we'll just have to wait and see. But this is what you want to see to round out the year. Just a huge game for both of those guys, and they have been needing it.
Yeah, Evans today, 207 yards, 3 touchdowns on 10 receptions on 12 targets. Chris Godwin today, 9 targets, 9 catches, 120 yards. I mean, just great stuff from the top 2 receivers. This is what you wanted to see from this trio, all year, right? And we finally got to see that in this game. Just fantastic. It looks like Evans did a jersey swap with some Panthers player. The passing game was electric. The running game left a lot to be desired, Rhett. Fournette, 10 carries, 28 yards. Rachaad White, 11 carries, 22 yards. Yes, they did make a couple of nice plays when it mattered most. Hey, and Tom Brady had a rushing touchdown. So 4 total touchdowns from Brady today, Rhett. Not bad at all, but the running game still continues to struggle, which has been a difficult thing to see.
Yeah, but fair enough credit to the Buccaneers offense. They were playing from behind for most of the game.
Yeah.
It seemed like it took them forever to take that lead away from Carolina. And once they did, obviously, you got to go back on the defensive. But I will say, I would have liked to see them execute a little bit better on that final possession for Tampa Bay. They tried a couple of runs with Rachaad White. They tried the one with Leonard Fournette, brought in some extra blockers, and it really didn't go anywhere. And that's when you need that run game to get going, right? Like even in a game where you're throwing the ball, Tom Brady, I think close to 50 passing attempts on the day, if I'm not mistaken. You want your run game to really kind of come in at the end of the contest and be something that you can lean on. And you're right. For the Bucs today, it didn't really feel like at any point in this game the run game was something they could have leaned on. But lucky for us, everybody kind of woke up somewhere in the second and third quarter, and this offense was running the best it has all season. So it's easy to get excited, but they were playing from behind a lot of the times today. And obviously Leonard Fournette also dealing with that foot injury that he's been playing through these past couple of weeks. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I'm not too concerned as of right now. But let's see how the run game looks in the first and second quarter of next week's game as well.
Real quick, then we'll wrap it up with the defense and special teams. So Levante David, 8 tackles, a tackle for loss. Devin White, 7 tackles as well. Solid game from both of the Buccaneers, top linebackers on their team. Antoine Winfield Jr., Rhett, he struggled in the first half. My goodness. It's probably the worst first half we've ever seen from AWJ. But in the second half, hey, he got a sack, he got a tackle for loss, he got a quarterback hit, he came alive a little bit. Will Golston made a couple of big plays in this game. 2 tackles for loss, a quarterback hit. Anthony Nelson, probably the play of the game with a strip sack on Sam Darnold and a quarterback hit thrown in there as well. Vita Vea recovered that fumble. Devin White had a fumble recovery on a botched snap for the Carolina Panthers. They had that for them a couple of times, unfortunately, in this game. Also, Chris Godwin did have a fumble earlier on in the game. That was in the first half. We don't talk about that first half too much. But some guys definitely stepped up, Rhett. Akeem Hicks had 2 passes defended at the line of scrimmage. Vita Vea had 2 quarterback hits and a fumble recovered, as I said. So just real quick thoughts on the defense before we finish this up with special teams.
Yeah, I thought it was another...
real quick, and SMB had an interception as well.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Sean Murphy-Bunting, actually, first and foremost. He has really stepped it up these past couple of weeks. It's a guy that, the first 3-4 weeks of the season could barely find the field, even though he was healthy, and then they slowly but surely started to work him into the system. He didn't look like the same guy that he did in that 2020 playoff run, but these last 2 weeks, he certainly has. Did a really, really good job neutralizing DeAndre Hopkins on Christmas, and then today just went out there and handled some business. I thought, there were a couple of moments where the defense was a little more leaky than they should have been, giving up certain plays to Sam Darnold that they probably should not have. But at the end of the day, they did play well enough to win. I thought the moments were needed. Taking advantage of the turnovers was the biggest thing that we saw today. I think Carolina finished with 3 total turnovers on the day, a couple of fumbles, and the one at the very end there to essentially call game. So, I liked what I saw. While they weren't as what's the word I'm looking for? While they didn't neutralize Carolina quite as much as we would have liked them to, I think the turnovers today are what kept the Bucs in this game and ultimately got them back into it. Right, that quick sequence of events, the first Mike Evans touchdown to get him back onto the board, and then immediately the fumble recovery after that. That was probably the most excited I was for this entire game, and that's thanks to the defense. So again, while Carolina did put some points on the board, you saw a lot of takeaways from this Bucs defense, and that's something they've been hurting for in recent weeks.
And then lastly here, with special teams, and this is on one hand rough, on another hand amazing, because Ryan Suckup, he did not do good. 1 of 3. He had a 20-something yard field goal blocked, which was unfortunate. The kick was just too low. He missed a 53-yarder, which I don't blame Suckup too much for that. The coaches do know what Suckup's range is. That was a poor decision, in my opinion. But also 1 of 2 on the extra point. That I kind of definitely put on Suckup as well. So I would say 2 of those missed kicks, 2 of those missed kicks were Suckup's fault. 1 was just a bad decision on the coaching staff. Not great from Suckup, Rhett. But then the guy who, arguably made another play of the game, Jake freaking Camarda.
Yeah.
2 punts inside the 20. The last punt he made was almost a doomsday level disaster, Avengers level threat, Rhett. I mean, my goodness. Botched snap by Zach Triner. Not the first time we've seen that from Triner this year, but a botched snap from Triner. Camarda picks it up. People forget that the Buccaneers punter has 4.3 speed. He's out there outrunning defenders. He gets to the sideline, gets the kick off, and still downs it at the Carolina 3-yard line. There was a flag, an ineligible kick downfield, I believe was what it was, which I at first thought was going to be a flag that was going to just give Carolina the ball, right where the kick was made.
Right.
But it reset the kick, and Camarda was able to get it off cleanly. So that's a crazy rule. I'm happy that that's a rule because that saved the Bucs. Also, Jake Camarda doing that saved the Bucs. Because if he didn't kick that, then there wouldn't have been an ineligible kick downfield, and then you wouldn't have had to reset the punt. If Camarda just would have went out of bounds, the Panthers could have had the ball, and then all hell would have broken loose. But that did not happen. Camarda got the kickoff miraculously, and that was the play there. Rhett, your kind of closing thoughts here on the special teams unit.
Yeah, an eligible player downfield. I think it was called on number 41 after that kick. But great heads-up play by Jake Camarda to keep that thing alive right there. And it's impressive, as you said, not only is he rolling out trying to show off some of that 4.3 speed, but I believe he is a right-footed kicker and had to get that thing off running to his left, which is incredible. And I was sitting there because the play before the Bucs had tried to, maybe high IQ play. Zach Triner was bluffing the snap, and they were trying to get Carolina to jump offside. So backs him up 5 yards, gives Camarda another shot to try and pin them deep. And I'm sitting there watching it. And right before the snap, I start to get that gut feeling where it's like, man, this would be a terrible time for something bad to happen, right? Because that's the timing it seems the Bucs have had all season as far as winning and losing football games. But yeah, just a bad snap, way to recover, and way to make something out of nothing there for Jake Camarda. I know the penalty kind of negated it, and they got another chance, but the Bucs can never make anything easy, can they? Even in a win, it's never easy. Had to come down to the wire, and even that final play by Carolina at the end of the game, the coverage was kind of backing off a little bit, and I was watching them run across the 40 to the 50 to the 40 to the 30, still lateraling the ball. I got a little nervous, but one more thing as we talk about special teams and wrap up here. We mentioned Ryan Suckup, and just I think as big of a fan as I am of Ryan Suckup, I think the Bucs are going to have to evaluate their needs at the kicker position. And even though he is pretty much our guy inside 50 yards, there's been more than enough times where the Bucs need him to have the leg, and he just doesn't have it. I think 2 for 7 on 50-plus yard attempts so far this season, which just isn't good enough. You can be good inside 50 yards in the NFL, but you're not always going to have an offense that's going to get you as close as you need to. And for the Bucs, especially their offense this season, if there's one thing we've learned, this offense is never always going to get you the yards that you need. So they were leaving some points out there on the field against Carolina, and I think the Bucs are aware of that. I think he also had a 50-plus yard miss on Christmas in Arizona. Always hard to be upset with him about it because we've known his range since he's come to Tampa Bay. But obviously something they're going to have to take a look at moving forward. But I thought overall, good team win for Tampa Bay, good momentum win as we approach the postseason with the Buccaneers now officially punching their ticket to the 2022 playoffs. It's an exciting time to be a Bucs fan. I know that they are only 8-8 with one game left to go, but it kind of takes away some of the pain of the season so far to know that they're going to get a shot in the tournament.
They're in the dance, man. They win the NFC South. They have a chance. And however you want to look at it, whatever way you want to look at it, they have a chance, which is good. So folks, yeah, great win there by the Bucs. Not always the cleanest win, but they got it in at the end of the day. Todd Bowles is officially a playoff coach and a division-winning coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we'll have to wait and see what the Buccaneers do next week. Will they rest their starters? Won't they? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But it's going to be really interesting. And hey, at the end of the day, Bucs got to win. They win the NFC South, and we can celebrate that throughout this week. So
Mike Evans is back.
Mike Evans is back. Tom Brady's back, and just in the right time because now the Buccaneers are getting ready for the playoffs. So very, very good stuff to see there.